Stranger Things can be a pretty polarizing show. Some people seem to love it more than anything, while others refuse to even give it a chance. For a long time, I found myself stuck in the middle when it came to Stranger Things. The first season was arguably perfect, from a great story to great child actors and genuinely scary moments, but to me, the show never really felt the same afterwards. Season 2 wasn't very good, and Season 3 had moments but struggled to hold my attention. However, I was somewhat relieved watching Season 4. It seems like the show understood that it was slipping away from its untouchable status and began to return to some of its roots. One of my favorite parts being that a conscious effort was being made towards making the show scary, because I know literally no part of Season 2 or 3 scared me, and some aspects, like those stupid demo dogs, were laughable. It wasn't only the show returning to form that I enjoyed, but that the work being done behind the scenes was passionate and caring for the product they were creating. The writers weren't just pumping out episodes once they had made it big. They wanted to continue to tell an amazing story and to do it in an interesting way. And sometimes, the way to show you really care about a show is through the little things. If there was one thing Stranger Things manages to get consistently right, it's the scoring. I mean, you know this theme. But what often goes uncredited is how amazing parts of the OST truly are. Kids from Season 1 is chilling. It's a mystery theme blended with 80s synthwave that tells you how to feel while also placing you directly into the past. The Upside Down, also from Season 1, feels like if you flipped everything about the previous track, well, upside down. It goes from fast to slow, from immersive to eerie. Instead of pulling you in, it pushes you out, as if you don't belong. I could go on, from Season 2's Walking in Hawkins to 80s classic Running Up That Hill absolutely taking over the airwaves once Season 4 premiered. Stranger Things constantly provides its fans with amazing scoring and musical choices, but there's one that's different. In Episode 7 of Season 4, we get the revelation of Vecna's backstory. It's a fantastic scene where we learn about Vecna through Elle and Nancy's perspectives in two separate locations at the same time. We see his childhood, how he abused his family and murdered his mother and sister. We see how his powers were studied and contained, and eventually, we learn that Elle was responsible for sending him to the Upside Down. The scene is great for a number of reasons, but what I wanted to focus on for this video was the specific choice of music that accompanied this scene. Uri Igo and Prophecies, an amazing piece of music that was used to score one of the scenes from the film Watchmen. It is a fantastic piece of music which, if you've never heard before, you'd be lying, since you've been listening to it since the video started. When this piece first started playing in Stranger Things, I immediately grew excited. I knew exactly where I heard this composition before and was thrilled to experience it again. What makes the moment so great, however, isn't just that it's a great piece of music, because while finding a great piece of music to match the mood might be difficult, it's not the hardest thing to do either. Take, for example, exit music for a film. Composed by Radiohead for the 1996 Romeo and Juliet adaptation, this song has been used everywhere, from Black Mirror to The 100 to Westworld to The Umbrella Academy to literally dozens of other examples. It is truly an amazing piece of music, but it isn't exactly exclusive to the content it appears in. What I mean by this is that as long as the ending of your film or TV episode covers tragic themes, this song will fit in really well. But that's it. It's a good fit, but the music doesn't dig any deeper. All it needs to do is establish its themes of tragedy and dread, and it's done its job. Pruitt Igoe in Prophecies manages to accomplish this surface level mood setting very well. The single organ playing its tune prepares viewers for a dramatic revelation. It raises the stakes and takes on what would be an ordinary monologue and molds it into something to behold. But as I stated earlier, while not easy, finding a score that accomplishes these things alone wouldn't be the hardest task to achieve. Pruitt Igoe in Prophecies doesn't just accomplish surface level tones, the song itself is a masterclass cinematic reference to Watchmen. The parallels that play out between Vecna's backstory and Dr. Manhattan's demonstrate the writer's understanding of cinema and the characters that they have in front of them. To start, both scenes involve our characters monologuing indirectly to their respective audiences. Each character explains their backstory from a very young age. We see each character go through a dramatic, life-altering physical transformation that completely reshapes them into something arguably not human. And while one story is about the creation of a hero and the other a villain, Pruitt Igoe in Prophecies manages to share their experiences and draw out these similarities. There is also the underlying theme of time. Throughout the series, Vecna has tormented his prey using a grandfather clock and its iconic gonging sound. It's during his backstory that we learn the origin of the clock. For Dr. Manhattan, we learn that his father was a watchmaker, and that from a young age, he was able to disassemble and reassemble watches. Once becoming Dr. Manhattan, his concept of time changes, since he's able to experience the past, present, and future all at once at his will. In a way, time becomes meaningless to Dr. Manhattan, all while time means everything to the prey of Vecna. The gonging of the clock isn't only a symbol for him, but also a warning, an indicator that your time is running out. And so, we see that both scenes feel nearly identical. Backstory explanations, physical transformations, overarching themes. Originally, this was about as far as this video was going to go. It was supposed to be a short, fun little video where I compliment the song used at one point in a TV series because of the similarities, both literal and thematic, between the two pieces of media that otherwise have nothing to do with each other. But there's still one more theme I need to talk about. And that is the theme of humanity and destruction. Both Vecna and Dr. Manhattan face ideas of humanity on a macro scale. Vecna sees people as pests and considers himself to be like a Black Widow, a predator that kills its prey, which in turn helps maintain the natural order of things. He believes that humanity has broken this natural order and has taken it upon himself to be what a spider is to flies. Dr. Manhattan, on the other hand, struggles to care. He can perceive movements of singular atoms just as well as he sees you or me, and as time passes, he finds himself growing distant from humanity. As the human race moves closer to blowing itself up during this alternate timeline of the Cold War, Dr. Manhattan progressively finds himself worrying less and less as he accepts the idea that he is no longer human, and therefore has no real stake in humanity's fate. This would be another great connection between these two films, but truthfully, this theme draws back even further to the movie that originally featured Pruitt Igoe in Prophecies. It's called Koyaanisqatsi. This 1982 American experimental film was completely scored by Philip Glass and was the first appearance of his composition, Pruitt Igoe in Prophecies. The film itself is strange to say the least. There's no characters, no dialogue, or traditional story. The story is instead told through long shots and the music which accompanies said shots. Overall, most people interpret the message of the film being that humans are destructive beings, and a better effort should be made to conserve nature and the land we live on. That there's beauty in nature, and it's humans who interrupt that beauty. Pruitt Igoe in Prophecies plays during a scene where the shots focus on old, abandoned apartment buildings. This is where the song gets its name from. Pruitt Igoe was the name given to an urban housing development plan in St. Louis, Missouri in 1954. The name came from the companies in charge of building the apartments, Wendell O. Pruitt Homes and William Igoe Apartments. These projects were, at the time, the largest housing projects in the country, building 33 11-story buildings. If you couldn't guess, the projects were a complete failure. While they were nice when first built, low maintenance quickly influenced the quality of housing. Crime rate climbed as occupancy fell, and within a decade the quality of life had returned, if not lowered, to what it was when the area was made up of slums. By 1976, all of the buildings had been demolished, many of which were filmed, and many of those destructive shots played in Koyaanisqatsi over the sound of Pruitt-Igoe and Prophecies. Monologues, backstory in childhood, physical transformations, time, struggling with humanity, and ideas of human beings being a destructive force. All of these similarities are brought together with a simple choice of music. When choosing a song to go with a scene, it's easy to pick something that sounds good. But to find something that sounds good while also referencing multiple other pieces of work, all while exploring various themes, well, that's just good filmmaking. Because sometimes, it isn't the big stuff that makes a show. It's the little things. Thanks for watching.